With just a few weeks of the NHL season left, this is getting scary from Toronto as the head coach calls out the team and the players respond. And Zach Hyman continues to make history. I'll get into this later on this episode, but before I start, I just want to say to thousands of you watching that aren't subscribed, if you're enjoying this daily NHL content and you never want to miss another episode, make sure to go down, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be all season long giving you updates from all around the league. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Sheldon Keefe calls out the team. So now, obviously, you watch the game if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan of the New Jersey Devils beating them 6-3. Sheldon Keefe was not a fan of this game, and the players weren't a fan either. Sheldon Keefe said, "Hate a lot about our game tonight, and hopefully the players hate it just as much or more. Instead of having a strong period and building on and continuing to do the things that we have done well, I thought we just overdid it. It was really immature from our inexperience and from our leaders." This is not something we want to hear coming out of Toronto and from the head coach, where he publicly comes out and says that not only are the just players that aren't with this team for a long time, they haven't been in the league for a while, not only them are being immature, but it's also the leaders of this team. And he publicly comes out and uses John Tavares as an example. He says, "He's been great and he will be great. I brought John up yesterday, as I did in the room with the team, because he's our leader. He's got to set the tone for our group." Now, obviously, this team is a team that's been together for quite some time. They finally got past the first round last year, but seeing all these troubles come out of not only the locker room, from the coach, from the team, but just the struggles the Leafs are having to continuously just blow leads, not stay in games, give up games to lesser opponents. This is not something you want with just 10 to 12 games left of the NHL season, with this team wanting to make a deep run. Now, players did comment as well. John Tavares did talk on Sheldon Keefe's comments, and he said, "I think especially as the captain, you really want to be on top of the list for being accountable and setting the standards the way we need to play." This is another thing. You have a lot of inexperienced players in this lineup. You have guys like Noah Gregor, who just hasn't been in the NHL for a long, extended period of time. Nick Robertson, you have Holmberg. You have these players that are just not being held accountable as much as maybe they can. I know Nick Robertson sat quite a bit, but you look at the star players: John Tavares, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Morgan Riley. These guys need to be held accountable, and a lot of them did speak out after Sheldon Keefe closed the doors after the game and spoke to the team on what needs to change. You can see Austin Matthews says, "I don't think that's stuff you want to seep into your game at this point of the year. Obviously, especially with 10 games left, that stuff just can't happen. That's on us. That's on the players." He continues on to say, "A little bit of an immature game from us at times. Just have that killer. We need that killer instinct a little bit more, especially when you have a good first like that. You want to come out, stay on the hunt there. And in the second, we took a step back instead of taking a step forward." William Nylander continues to comment on this as well, saying, I think it's just sloppy, letting it get a little free-flowing and not playing hard enough. You know what it is, you're rattling. We know we're capable of a lot better in this locker room. We still have some time to dial it up. We've been playing great as a team of late. We played against a little bit of a looser team, and that cannot happen. Like I said, this is not what you want coming out of Toronto. Sheldon Keefe also did have quotes about a guy like Joseph Woll, the defense, just the team in general he was not happy about. And once again, with a team that wants to make a deep run, a team that finally made it to the second round last year, a team that didn't do as much at deadline as a lot of fans are expecting, this is not what you want to hear. This could be foreshadowing of this team really looking for a culture change, a player change, whatever it might be. I think there's going to be a massive change in this Toronto locker room if that's Sheldon Keefe going, maybe a guy like Tavares, Marner, Nylander, Matthews, Riley. Something needs to give with this team. Bertuzzi and Domi came in. I think they're awesome in this locker room. Ryan Reeves is another guy that's awesome addition to this locker room, but it needs more. If your star players aren't being held accountable, if they're not stepping up when you need them, if they're getting just kind of slack during these games, if they're slack in the playoffs, something needs to give. Like I said, we've seen Kyle Dubas exit from this team. Brad Treliving came in. He tried to add character with Bertuzzi, Domi. He added people to this locker room that can help bring the culture up, and it seems like things aren't working. Maybe this is going to be the offseason where we see a coaching change. Maybe we see a guy like Shanahan step down. Whatever it might be, something needs to give in Toronto, because the coach coming out, this far, 10 games left of the season, is unacceptable in my opinion, especially, like I said, with a team looking to make a deep run. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Are you happy that Sheldon Keefe called out the team? Are you hoping he holds more players accountable instead of just letting them continuously play through it? And who on this team do you think should step up? And what kind of change would he make if the Leafs do falter and lose in the first or second round this year? But with that, let's hop into a happier topic, or probably sadder for a lot of Leafs fans, but Zach Hyman's making history. Zach Hyman is the third oldest player in NHL history to have his first 50-goal season as a 31-year-old Hyman, slotting behind Joey Mullen and Johnny Buick, who did it at 35. So the big thing with this is Zach Hyman did come out in an interview and just kind of spoke on how he waited till the last minute before he had to pick another team where he knew the door of signing with Toronto was done. Zach Hyman, like I said, played most of his career. You could see 2, 4, 6 seasons with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had multiple 20-goal seasons, a 15-goal season, 10-goal season. He had Selke votes. He made an all-star game with the Oilers. Each year, we're seeing Zach Hyman slowly and slowly get better as time has went on. And especially this season, 69 games played, 51 goals, 19 assists, 70 points, a plus 20, 35 blocks, 66 hits. This guy has been on fire with this team, and honestly, I can't see it slowing down. Zach Hyman has been one of the Oilers' best players. Yes, there are people coming out and saying that he's doing it because of privilege. Not going to get into that whole Twitter fiasco, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of people are saying this was Connor McDavid just kind of making Hyman look a lot better. But scoring 51 goals is not something that anyone can do. There's a very select list of people that have scored 50 goals, and I don't think there's many more that's more deserving than a guy like Zach Hyman, who has busted his butt, the best way to put it, to get to this position of his NHL career, putting in work season after season. 4 goals, 10, 15, 21, 21, 15, 27, 36, and finally joining the 50-goal club. As you can see here, this is Hyman's charts. Yes, he does have 36 goals within the slot, but this is still a high caliber area. We've seen Sheldon Keefe speak on Zach Hyman and just call him Shaq Hyman because of how good he was getting in the paint, scoring these goals, and just making a name for himself in the NHL after just being a 5th round draft pick. Zach Hyman just kind of talked about how he got here, and he said, in university, I had 2 goals my first year. I was drafted and I was just a draft pick. I was no longer a prospect. Everyone kind of wrote me off. And this was after he scored his 50th goal against the Ottawa Senators. And he said, then I started to score. I was an NHL player, but I was an NHL player who had no hands. A grinder playing next to Austin Matthews and William Nylander. That was the narrative. I scored 10 goals, then 15, then 20. Then it was like, he's an okay player. He just plays with good players. And I still have that narrative, which is awesome. As I said with Zach Hyman, this guy was loved in Toronto, in my opinion. I still love him. Yes, he did not sign with the team. The Oilers got an outstanding player, but the Oilers also got a 50-goal scorer that's responsible in his end. He's a team player, and as I said, no one deserves this more in the NHL. Yes, you have guys that deserve to score 50, but Zach Hyman has put in effort season after season. I seen a quote from his dad just kind of talking about when he first made it to Michigan University. He called his dad while his dad was driving, and he said, "Hey, Dad, the coach wants to be a mucker and a grinder. What does that mean?" And his dad said, "That means 3rd, 4th line type of guy." And he said, "Okay, thanks, Dad." And his dad said Hyman would do anything it takes to win with the team. And we're seeing this year after year as he just develops his game, continues pushing, and in his quotes, pushing for those milestones to get better. So what you guys on Zach Hyman? Do you think he can have multiple 50-goal seasons in a row? How many goals do you think he scores this year? And if you're a Toronto fan, do you still love Hyman as much as I do? But with that, let's get into everyone's favorite topic today, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day comes from Curtis Joseph. This would be awesome if it was the real Cujo. But he said, I wait another week before I choose a Game 1 starter. And he is talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And in my opinion, I completely agree. This is a weird season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. As we've seen Joseph Woll come in, be the number 1 guy. He went down with an injury. Samsonov came in, struggled a tiny bit. Martin Jones took over. Then we've seen Samsonov take over. Now it seems like it was back to Jones, and now it's right back to Samsonov as Wall continues to struggle a tiny bit. I know Keefe blamed the defense and the team in front of him a lot, but he has let in a couple weak ones. But I do expect things to get better, and it's going to be a tough decision once I get to game one on who's going to start between the pipes. But if you want to be featured on tomorrow's episode, make sure to go down and leave a comment. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We're going to be here all season long giving you updates from all around the league. But with that, take care.